Welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast hosted by Rhodey and Diz. The boys will share their tall tales of the one that got away, as well as some regular segments they know all you fishing tragics will enjoy.
G'day and welcome to episode 7 of All the Gear But No Idea. Diz, how are you, mate?
I'm fantastic, Rhodey. How are you, my friend?
Yes, very, very good. Now, what do we got for the guys today, Diz?
We've got an absolute treat. We've put it up on our socials. We've got Tim Whetstone. He is going to be on with us for this episode and we can't wait to have a chat with him, Rhodey.
Big news, the fishing reforms have been announced by Mr. Whetstone and we're going to go through and hit him up with some questions about that. So we look forward to that, guys.
We do, and you'll have all your favourite segments on there, the fishing news, oranges and lemons, and we're actually going to do your 5 questions today, Rhodey, so that'll be a treat for the listeners.
Certainly will, mate.
All right, let's hook into it, Rhodey. Oranges and lemons.
Now, mate, I'm not sure. Hopefully the listeners are on the socials, the Instagram, the Facebook. We've flooded it. We have flooded the socials with our success. What do we do on Sunday, mate? We got the bloody bag of King George whiting. That is certainly my orange for the week.
We did well. We did do well. And I'm not sure whether that's a sign that we rarely do that well on the fish that we've just flooded Instagram and Facebook, but we did anyway. My orange for the week, Rhodey, I'll a bit more on this later when we recap the weekend's worth of fishing, but I've found us a lovely little flathead hole. Stumbled across it out there in the wilderness. It was great.
You found it, did you?
Absolutely, mate.
I thought I was skippering at that point.
That was all me.
Bit of controversy, that one.
What was your lemon, mate?
Look, what did it take us? It probably took us an hour and a half to fill all them bloody fish. Pack up the boat. We were there all afternoon, looking out over the water, and it was a damn mill pond.
Oh, yeah.
So while we were doing the jobs, the fish would have been there to get.
Yes.
Always disappointing packing up when it's a mill pond.
Yeah, it's always the way, though, isn't it? Murphy's Law. It was a lovely, lovely weekend worth of weather. Well, my lemon was, we were doing really well on the fish early. Absolutely killing it, hot bite. And we thought, geez, we don't want to overstay our welcome here. We are sticklers for the rules and we weren't going to have any more than 20 in the tank. So it was your decision. Let's go and count the fish. And we had 18. And how long did it take to get the other 2?
I reckon 2.5 hours.
Good 2.5 hours. Anyway, it was all good fun. And that wraps up Oranges and Lemons for the week, guys. Rhodey, give the listeners out there a little update on the merch. What's happening?
Yep. Now, the stubby holders are basically sold out. There's 1 or 2 left, but more or less a sellout, guys. And so we will order some more stubby holders in time. So if you're keen on a stubby holder, get in contact and we'll put you on the list for the next allotment. Caps are in the pipeline, but again, COVID coming out of China, those caps are a little bit slow.
Yeah, nothing's coming over here quick, is it?
Nah. So anyway, I know COVID's hit a lot of people hard, but that's got to be one of the biggest blows of the whole thing.
Absolutely. No merch.
Oh, the listeners are spewing.
Shocking. And yeah, look, if you've been lucky enough to get your hands on one of those elusive stubby holders, make sure you take plenty of photos. Get them up on the socials and share the All the Gear But No Idea.
We have had some good interaction with the fans over the socials lately, Diz, haven't we?
Yeah, Flacky was good. Dropped a couple in the post for him, and he was getting around a few photos with his stubby, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, he loved them. He had a little can of wild turkey the other night, I reckon.
Yeah, he did, keeping him warm in the winter.
Bloody oath.
Absolutely. All right, well. We are in for a treat today, guys. As much as I'm sure you're probably looking forward to listening to Tim, you've got yourself a treat of Rhodey's 5 questions this week. We're not going to take up Tim's time with our 5 quick questions, but we're going to go for yours, Rhodey. So tell us about your best fish, mate.
Well, I reckon the most memorable one was probably a couple of years ago on KI. Got the scuba gear, got the ticket, got all the gear. Pretty much had no idea. Stumbled out the front, walked out the front of the shack, flipping my way around the coast. Little bit of a cliff there. Popped my head under and pulled out a big old crayfish.
Yeah. No,
Cooked that up on the barbie for the boys and the girls.
Yeah, it was impressive. If I've ever seen a bloke who is the epitome of all the gear but no idea, it was you walking down the beach with all that scuba gear on.
I was pretty wrapped with myself to pull in that crayfish, pull him out of the hole, and that was a real adrenaline rush for me. So I reckon that was one of my better catches, mate.
It was, yeah. That was good. And Rody, your favourite thing about fishing, mate? What is it?
I like the anticipation of the next trip. Now, we've had some ordinary trips. Let's be real. We haven't always caught fish.
True.
But we always somehow find a way of talking ourselves into thinking next time our luck will change.
We do.
We always think we've got the answer, the right spot, the right gear, the right something that's going to turn our luck, and all of a sudden we're just going to have the day of our lives. Doesn't always happen, but the anticipation that it will keeps us coming back.
Boy, it all came together on the weekend though, didn't it?
It was one of those weekends, mate. They're few and far between, but it all lined up, mate.
That'll keep the anticipation going for at least the next 18 months, I would have thought, even if we don't get onto it.
Mate, one bag of whiting, there's 12 months of enthusiasm in that.
All right, ready? Your first fishing memory, mate, or what got you into fishing?
So I remember vivid memory of being a young tacker and going up to, we were living in Melbourne at the time, going up to Bendigo to stay at Nan and Pa's house. Heading down to the dam down in the valley there and fishing for some redfin. So we were plodding along, catching a few little ones. Next minute, my nice yellow kids rod buckled over. Bloody got real excited, started pulling it in. Murky dam water, out comes one redfin on the top hook. Out comes a second redfin on the second hook of my paternoster rig. Out comes a third redfin on the sinker. So, mate, that one just jumped on for good luck, held onto the sinker, got him into the bank, and we had 3 beautiful redfin for dinner.
Absolute tickets on yourself, mate. You're pretty proud of that? Or
And I reckon I wrote Rex Hunt a letter telling him I should be on his show.
That might have been the start of your head growing.
Yeah, it was certainly up there.
All right, and your favourite sort of fishing, Rody? Is it dam fishing?
I reckon taking the tinny out off, Victor Harbour or KI and chasing the tuna.
Okay.
It's bloody exciting catching a tuna at the best of times, but in the tinny with a couple of mates and, rods and gaffs and gear going all over the shop, little tinny catching big fish, always good fun.
Yeah, no, it was. We've had some really good days off KI and out off Victor with your old man. I reckon he was a non-believer until we took him out off Victor that day.
Mate, he wouldn't even let us stop at the bloody servo to get ice. He had such little faith in us.
All right, and your funniest fishing story, Rody, or the one that got away?
I reckon one night we had over on KI, a couple of beers, nice little feed. One thing led to another. The sun had gone down. It was getting pretty late in the piece. Anyway, the boys decided we'd chuck the boat in and go for some garfish, do a little bit of dabbing.
Oh, it was a mill pond that night, wasn't it?
Bloody beauty. So anyway, it was getting a bit cold, probably 1 or 2 a.m. by this stage, and we're a few beers down, obviously apart from the boat driver who was drinking responsibly. We thought that through in advance.
Yes, we did.
Anyway, a couple of drunk blokes up the front looking for some garfish. 1 minute, the light man goes to one side, the netter goes to the other side. 2 or 3 other blokes go over to that side of the boat just to get a look. Little bit of weight shift in the old tinny, and Goody tips himself into the drink. We all sort of looked around, wasn't quite sure what was happening, and we see Goody bobbing off in the distance.
He doesn't have much meat on his bones, old Goody, too. He would have been feeling like that.
He certainly got the shakes on. I think Bill nicely offered him some sort of thin vest to put on to keep him warm, but anyway.
Very generous of Bill to offer him his undershirt.
We'd expect nothing less of Bill, though, really.
No, that was a great night, actually. We did reasonably well on the gar, too. We
did. Yep, we certainly did.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right, well, they were good, Rody. Thanks for that, mate. Your 5 questions, not too bad. Probably not quite as good as mine, but we'll put it up there anyway. All right, we have got a lot of news. This is a thick section of the podcast, isn't it? There's been plenty going on in the news front. Rody, let's tell the listeners before we get Tim on about what he's announced and what that means for the recreational fishing scene in South Australia. Go for it, mate.
All right, let's run through it. So big fishing reforms, primarily to the commercial fishers.
Okay.
But that does have a flow-on effect to us recos. So I'll talk you through it, or we'll talk you through it. So $24.5 million reform package to the state's commercial fishing.
Absolutely.
It'll be fully implemented by July 1st, 2021, if I can get that out correctly.
Well done, you got there, mate.
So, Firstly, they're going to split up the state into 4 regional fishery management zones. So the West Coast 1, Spencer Gulf 2, Gulf of St Vincent and KI is number 3, and the Southeast. So we'll talk to Tim about what that means in a bit more detail later on.
Yes, we will. And there's been an introduction of a total allowable commercial catch for some of those priority species we know. King George whiting, snapper, calamari, garfish.
Yeah, so there's...
Go for it.
Yeah, there's already been a quota on, I think, a few of the other species, the crayfish and a couple of others. So they've added those 4 species into the quota system. What that's going to mean, they're going to allocate the quota between the pros. So X amount of snapper is allocated to the pros, and it's broken up amongst all those that have a license. That quota can be transferred between, so it's transferable. So it can be transferred between different people with a professional license. And that's in order to best manage the commercial catch limits.
Yes, yeah, that's fantastic. And there's big news on the voluntary buyback. What's going on there, Rhodey?
Yeah, so 150 commercial line fishing and net fishing licenses are being bought back by the government, and that's out of a total of just over 300. So they're buying back almost half of the professional licenses, and that'll start May 25 this year, so just around the corner. And they're expecting all this to be sort of done by middle of next year, as I said.
Very ambitious targets. We look forward to having a chat with Tim about it, and he's also announced they're cutting a lot of red tape. So we'll get some more details on that when we hear from Tim later in the show, as well as a review of the marine parks. Is that right?
Yep, so they're giving more access to anglers. So we will touch on that as well. We'll get some more news with Tim about that later on, about what that's going to mean for us recos and the tweaking of the marine parks.
We look forward to hearing from him later on in the show. That'll be great.
Certainly good news, though.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
I just personally can't see how, if you take out 150 pro fishermen, there's not going to be more fish for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think this might be a win-win situation. We have read and heard some reports about there being some non-financially viable licenses, haven't we?
Yep, certainly that's what we've heard.
Might be a win-win, but we'll get it out of the horse's mouth, so to speak, later on, won't we?
Bloody oath, mate.
Okay, Rhodey, Victor Harbour.
Yep.
There's a bit going on down there. What's happening? New causeway.
So $31 million to fund the project for a new causeway from Victor Harbour to Granite Island. It's due to begin later in the year. Expressions of interest from construction companies are currently in the pipeline and going ahead.
What's that mean for the horse-drawn tram?
So that'll be obviously out of action for a little while. They built a new causeway, but it has actually been out of action a few times last year while they fixed up bits and pieces, a few structural concerns.
Yes, look, it's been a long time since I've sat on that tram, but the causeway doesn't look like the most sturdy piece of machinery that I've seen.
No, a little bit rickety for mine.
Yeah, fair call. All right, there's a bit of suspect activity going on down at the tuna pens.
Yep, out off Port Lincoln. So the Eyre Peninsula Tuna Farms are reporting an increased rate of theft, of poaching of the tuna out of the pens this season.
Not good, not good. What's the where's the evidence, mate? What's been happening?
So they've found some dead tuna in the pens and others that are alive but with significant gaff-induced injuries. So they pretty well know what's happened. So the poachers have got in, and obviously they weren't quite good enough to catch all of them. And they left a few in there injured. So they're putting 2 and 2 together, and they think there's poachers on the loose.
Yes, it's very interesting, isn't it? There's a lot going on down there.
So apparently, this is what we've heard, the farms closer to the shore have always had some poaching going on. Okay. But this year they're spreading it further and further out and getting some of the wider pens as well.
A few pirates, you reckon?
Oh, it certainly sounds sus to me. So Brian Jeffries, who is CEO of the Australian Southern Bluefin Tuna Industry Association, there's a lot of words in that, mate. He has said there's been one theft every 3 days.
Wow.
Quite a lot. And
it is.
Daryl Evans from the Marnicole Fisheries near Boston Island, he has lost several hundred fish to poaching every year, which is upwards of $100,000.
That's unbelievable. How do they monitor these pens? What do they get the boats out there?
Yeah, I think they've got boats and CCTV, but obviously they can't stop at 100%. There's too many pens, too much ground, water to cover, I suppose.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And that'd have to sort of disrupt the fish, wouldn't it?
Well,
No,
they
get
do
in the
believe
pens.
that the poaching, obviously you lose the fish that they nick and take home and eat, but it spooks the rest of the fish and can put them off their feeding cycle for a few days.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. And sort of related to that, Rhodey, we've got some news on the southern bluefin tuna stocks,
We
haven't
certainly
we?
do, mate. So the University of Tasmania's Institute for Marine and Antarctic Studies, they did a recreational catch survey across 2019. Surveyed recreational fishermen at popular southern bluefin tuna fishing locations across Australia. Good to hear that 100% of those that were asked to participate in the survey were agreeable. And I reckon they pulled us up one day down at Victor, mate.
They did. Yep.
How many did we catch that day?
Big old donuts that day, mate. We got nothing.
That doesn't sound like us, mate. You sure I was with you?
You were, mate. You were skippering the vessel that day.
So the report highlighted the success of the Tuna Champions program in promoting and achieving sustainable fishing practices. So they found that many fishermen were found to be practicing catch and release or only keeping what they needed for a feed. So the report commended us recreational fishermen on that attitude.
We've heard that a lot, haven't we? You know, Stu, he was telling us a vast majority of his fishing for the season is catch and release or catch, tag and release. So, you know, there is a lot of that goes on out there, which is fantastic. And I mean, they did find in that, didn't they, that most of the tuna has been caught around the Fleurieu Peninsula, Portland in Victoria. New South Wales is home to the largest tuna, though, aren't they?
Well, statistically, I think on average they had the largest tuna, but
Okay.
I'm not sure they always get the biggest, but
Yes.
that's what they found.
Yeah. And so really, no outcome from the report.
Well, I suppose the outcome was there's no change to the bag and size limits of southern bluefin tuna in Australia. So that's a positive result. They've said the fishery is sustainable, and they were happy. So at the moment, 5% of Australia's share of the global southern bluefin tuna stocks are allocated to recreational fishing, and they've said that us as a recreational, fishing group are roughly using what we're allocated, and it's seen as sustainable fishing.
Fantastic news. All right, that just about wraps up the segment, but we have got a couple of extras, haven't we? The Australian Salmon Fishing Championship on a little bit more of a lighter note. That's down at Elliston Road, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. So way into the Elliston Caravan Park. Tickets are $10. You need to purchase them prior to fishing, and there is a number of local shops and locations where you can pick them up.
Yes.
Fishing's allowed between Sharinga and Mount Camel, I believe it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fishing is allowed between June the 1st and August the 31st. So you got to be the time. And first prize, it's a doozy, Rhodey.
$1,500, mate. So if you've got a couple of weekends off, we might nip over there and I'll show you how to catch a big old salmon, mate.
Elliston's a lovely part of the world. You been down there?
Never been to Elliston, mate.
Yeah, it's good.
You've been there?
Yeah. Drove past there, did my placement down in Sejuna and spent a while there.
You and your old man did a bit of fishing, I think?
Yeah, we did.
Caught anything?
No.
That really sums you up, mate. I'm not there and you catch no fish.
All right, we do have one more piece of news for this week, though, the razorfish survey. Certainly something that our good mate Will Latchford will be interested in participating on because he steps on those things like you wouldn't believe.
I've actually never seen a bloke with less awareness. He just goes stomping through the weeds, looking for him, I reckon, and then carries on like a real pork chop with a little cut on his foot.
Especially when you tell him, look, Latchy, there's a razorfish right there. He just walks over and trods on it for fun.
Ridiculous, mate. Anyway,
it's a stitch up. What's it all about, though,
so
mate?
Marfac have launched an online survey on recreational fishing for razorfish, open until May 29, and it can be found on their Facebook page. This will help guide the future management of the species in the state.
Oh, mate, I can't see how we need to restrict it. They seem like a pest to me.
Look, I've certainly never thought of really pillaging them myself.
No. Interesting news, anyway. All right, well, that wraps up the news for this week. There's a lot going on there, Rhodey. Thanks for digging around. You've searched the deep, dark web and found some good stuff for the listeners this week.
Now, this is what you've all been waiting for, guys. We're joined on the line here now by Mr. Tim Whetstone. He's the member for Chaffey in the Riverland. He's also the Minister for Primary Industries and Regional Development, which includes responsibility for fishing in the state. Welcome to the show, Tim Whetstone. Tim, thanks a lot for joining us, mate.
Yeah, pleasure to be with you guys.
Thanks a lot, Tim. Obviously, a fantastic announcement for recreational fishermen, and it's a real privilege for us to have you on the show. I'm sure it's been a long road thank you very much for doing it. There's been a lot of work, I imagine.
Yeah, look, there has. I guess the announcement, it has a flow-on effect for the recreational sector. The reform package that we put in place is really there for the commercial marine scale fishers. And those guys have been, under the pump for a long time with the uncertainty that sector presents, and they've found it very hard to make a dollar. And so we've looked at what reform is needed, and we've consulted with the industry at large, and we put a panel together that had an overarching, an aerial view of the sector as it is. We then did an independent review of the marine scale sector, and it didn't look too good. So that's why we put this reform package in place to give those that want to exit the industry a dignified exit, and those that want to be a part of a future within the marine scale sector to give them some certainty.
Yes, certainly. And what about, Tim, explain the process for those that do want to stay involved. Explain the process for who will be the pro licences that are bought back and who will remain as pro fishermen.
Yeah, well, look, I guess as we start off, we've put a significant amount of money on the table for the reform package. It's $24.5 million, and it's to address the number of licences that we have here in South Australia, and it's also to negate the overfishing as we see it. Both sectors, by and large, do need reform, but at the moment this is primarily for the commercial sector. So it's about buying back licences. There are currently 307 commercial licences in South Australia, and we want to buy back 150 of them. And to do that, we want to put a financial package in place for both the longliners or the hook fishermen, as well as the net fishermen, and so that they can assess where they sit at the moment. They can make a decision whether they stay in or whether they get out. If they want to get out, there's a financial package there. If they want to stay in, there is some certainty for those fishers.
Fantastic. That's great news for the commercial fishermen, and certainly, Tim, another big part of the announcement was splitting up the state into regions and the quotas split into those zones. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, certainly, we've had to put a number of measures in place. So the full raft of reform will mean that we've got money on the table to buy back licences. We've also decided that we're going to introduce management zones in the South Australian waters. So we'll have the West Coast, we'll have the Spence Gulf, the Gulf of St Vincent, and that'll incorporate Kangaroo Island, as well as the southeastern waters. So those four zones, it gives us an ability to better manage the fish and the fish stocks, but it also gives us the ability to be able to manage the commercial fishers in those zones as to where they fish and what they're able to take out of those zones.
Yeah, so tell us, Tim, about the quotas. How will they be set and monitored or changed over time, and will they relate to the specific zones in the state, or will they be across the whole state?
Look, those zones will be set, and I have an independent panel that will be set up, and that panel, they'll have an independent industry expert. There'll be an economic person, as well as some legal expertise, so that we get all of the governance right, and making sure that once this package rolls out, it's fair for everyone. So we're opening up the licence buyback as of the coming Monday, and we will then release all of the information as we can, and hopefully that package will be released around the end of July, and what that'll give all of the information to those fishers so that they can make an informed decision. But I think by and large that the quota system will be to keep our stock sustainable. So both the managed take to the fishers is one component of it, and then once we get those numbers sorted out, we will give the ability to those fishers to be able to transfer quota between themselves. Some fishers might decide that they don't want to stay in the sector, and so they'll sell a quota to one of their fishing buddies, and they will go on with it. And so what I would say is that quota, as my wish will be, that we want it to remain as small businesses here in South Australia, and so the ongoing ability for those fishers to continue will remain. We don't want to see large corporates coming into the state, buying up the quota, and then pushing out those small SMEs, if you like, businesses that have been a part of the industry for many decades.
Yeah, that's great to keep the fishing in the state, Tim. That's certainly a positive to take from it. And will these quotas that you set sort of be addressed every 12 months or 2 years and go up and down based on the health of the stock?
Yeah, they certainly will. You've got it right there. We'll do annual assessments of what the fish stocks are with our primary species. So the 4 primary species will be snapper, King George whiting, southern garfish, and calamari. And they're our primary 4 species. There are also many underutilised species. The Tommy Ruffs and the snook and the salmon. There are plenty of them.
Plenty of others, yes.
And we'll be able to make sure that they also are assessed, so that if the fishers run out of quota on the 4 main or the prize plate fish, that they can't go in and overfish those underutilised species. So it will still be managed, but we hope that it'll be better managed by a quota system that'll give all the fishers certainty. And it's a little bit like the recs. Their quota system is about a bag and boat limit. In the commercial sector, they will have a certain amount of a fish that they can take on an annual basis, and that annual basis will be assessed. They'll be given a quota, and then they know just exactly what they're doing for the upcoming season.
Fantastic, Tim. I'm just going to take it on a different bit of a different angle here. I'm certainly loving what we're hearing. I think it's going to be a win-win for the commercial sector and the recreational anglers. I'm sure you've had some expected impact on the recreational area. They obviously bring a lot of money to the regions and the state more broadly. Is there anything that you want to see in particular from this package, or just better management overall?
Well, look, there are a couple of wishes that I have for both the sectors, and that is that if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And so that's why we're bringing in quota system for the commercials. With the recreational sector, we think that I'm guided by my MARFAC, which is the Minister's Recreational Fishing Advisory Council. That's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah, sure is.
So that they give me advice on what the recreational sector expect of government, but also what the rec sector expect of themselves. And we need to get out there. We need to get a survey going, so that not only do we need to understand how many people are out there recreational fishing, but what do fishers expect? Do they expect better boat ramps, better cleaning facilities? Do they like to have some of the oyster reefs that we're currently embarking on at the moment?
Yeah.
Do we need to introduce more fish stocks? And so if we have some of those initiatives, that's the sort of feedback that the MARFAC's new recreational survey will give me, so that when we're developing policies, when we're putting a budget towards supporting that sector, so they can go out there and they can have some certainty that when they go over to York Peninsula, they can be assured that they're going to catch a feed of fish for them and their family, and making sure that they've got a decent boat ramp to put their boat in and out. They've got the cleaning facilities. There are lights there, so people, when they're coming in the dark, that they can do it safely. And all the expectations that I would have as a rec fisher, just like yourselves, because I'm sure you guys like to go out there and catch a feed of fish.
Certainly do.
But yeah, look, and I want to know exactly what the rec sector expect of me, and the best way to do that is the Marfac survey, which that'll be released in the next week or so. And I want all of your listeners to be able to actually participate in that survey so that we can get good feedback and accurate feedback so that we can make the right decisions.
Yes, that's certainly something that we're very happy to hear, and we'll certainly promote that on our social media when the survey does come out. Is something else that you're considering at all be a recreational fishing licence in SA, similar to what is the case in other states?
Yeah, look, I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of fishers, and most are of the opinion that South Australian fishers would be prepared to have that conversation around a licence. If we look across the border, let's look into Victoria. The amount of gains that the recreational sector have got from licence fees has been outstanding. They're seeing not only in the marine environment, but also in the freshwater in our rivers and reservoirs. We see, fish stocking, we see reefs, we see all sorts of monitoring, making sure that we can keep an eye on what's going on beneath the surface of the water, because that's the unknown. Many people don't know where the fish are, how many fish are out there.
I'm one of them,
so
Tim.
Yeah, I think we all are. I think we really all are. But, at the moment, the things that determine what's going on under there is the science that recommends to me, or the recommendations of whether we move the quotas up and down, whether we adjust bag and boat limits. And so, we've got to have that evidence so that I can make decisions that are based on science, and they're not just based on having a few beers with the boys and saying, didn't catch any fish today, I think the place is buggered.
Yes, certainly. Tim, you talked about... Sorry, you go.
And, at the moment, particularly with the commercial fishers, there are no limits. They can go out there and catch a quantity of fish with no constraints. And that's the reason that we've got ourselves into the situation with snapper.
Yes.
That people have overfished it. Particularly in spawning and aggregation times of the year, people go out there, and when those fish are all aggregating, when they all come together, they're just smashing them. And so that's why we've had to close. Sadly, we've had to close fishing for snapper for an extended period of time so that we can allow the stocks to rebuild, and we can make sure that you guys and your families, your kids could go out there and catch a feeder snapper, in the future when you're looking to go out and catch fish. Yes,
we're certainly hoping the snapper stocks are out there increasing at the moment during their break. You mentioned, Tim, about the Marfac. After it's been going about 12 months, I think. How's that going, and what's next on the radar? You mentioned the survey. Anything else that they're looking at?
Yeah, look, the Marfac have come to me with a number of recommendations. They've had a bit of headwind with the snapper closure, and I think they handled that pretty well. Their headwind primarily comes from the social media campaigns. But what I would say is that they've familiarised themselves with each jurisdiction or each zone around the state, and they're now formulating what them as the voice of rec fishers are expecting. And that's why we're putting out the survey now to put the finishing touches on what I would expect as a really robust policy to make sure that we can grow the recreational sector, but making sure that we've got sustainable fish stocks and we've got really good facilities. We've got new opportunities. If we're reviewing the sanctuary zones, that's one conversation. If we're putting in oyster reefs, if we're putting in better boat ramps and cleaning facilities, that's another conversation. And they're the recommendations that Marfac are coming to me with. And they are part of South Australia being the seafood state, and we want to make sure that there is a good future for fishing in South Australia, and whether you're a commercial or whether you're a recreational fisher, as you do and as I do, I want a great experience when I go out there and catch fish. Go out and explore the waters, or go out and explore new places to fish, to be able to catch new varieties, or just go out and have a great experience, in our pristine waters.
Yes, we do have pristine waters, Tim. You're dead right there. And another recent announcement, which maybe if informed with Marfac and your decision, was lifting the King George Whiting May spatial closures and the Upper Spencer Gulf cuttlefish restricted area. How did that go? Good news story?
Yeah, look, I think it's a story that I base my decisions on best available science.
Yeah.
I'm sure I listened to the conversations at the boat ramps and having a beer with my mates that they're all avid wreck fishers, but the science is what I've got to base my decisions on.
Yes.
The stocks with King George Whiting have been replenished; they're now sustainable, and that's why we removed the ban for May. And just like it is with the giant cuttlefish, we've got to remember that there is the permanent closure between Louth Bay and the Whyalla Wharf.
Yes.
That's permanently closed. That's a world-renowned breeding ground for the cuttlefish. But out in our open waters, the stocks have been proven that the stock assessment has shown that the numbers are there to allow fishers to go out and catch cuttlefish for a feed. It's not about going out there and commercially smashing them. It's about going out there, catching a feed, thanking your lucky stars that the science says that they're sustainable and you're out there doing the right thing.
Yes, no, that's certainly good news, Tim. Good. We were very happy to hear that one. Now, last question I've got for you. It's been really good that we have in this state opened up some reservoirs to the fishermen. Friend of the show, Jake Rishbeth, hit us up with a question, and he was asking if there's more that you plan on opening up. He thinks in particular Kangaroo Creek and Mount Bold, which have the potential to be outstanding trout fisheries, in his opinion.
Absolutely, he's spot on. Look, what I would say is that we're working with Minister Spears, the Minister for Environment, and we've got to make sure that if we do open up reservoirs that we're able to manage them, making sure that when people do go into those reservoir and those areas, if you like, that they have easy access. We don't want people driving in there, digging the place up. We don't want people leaving their rubbish and polluting water storages. But more importantly, we've got to make sure that if we are going to give people a good experience, we've got to stock the reservoirs with fish. And whether it be trout, whether it be perch, whether it be cod, we've got to make sure that we are, acting responsibly if we are going to open up waterways to the recreational fishers, because again, that's just another opportunity, and to be able to go and catch a fish like they do in other states is something that South Australia has missed out on for such a long time.
Yes, no, certainly it's been a good thing you've put in place recently, and we're very happy with that one, as are all the freshwater fishers.
Yeah, and look, I must put a plug in for the freshwater fishers. I mean, it's been pretty slim fishing in our river systems for a long time, but I think to their credit, if they catch a Murray cod, they return them. If they catch a plate-sized callum, they keep it. To within their bag limit, of course. But
yes.
If they catch something that's a big fish that is a potential big breeder, I think everyone has a conscience that they return them so that they can continue to watch those stocks grow. On the back of, the initiative that I've put in place to making sure that we continue to have fingerling releases of Murray cod into our river system, just like we do into our reservoirs. And so, we're a long way behind some of the other states, but I think, better late than never. And we'll continue to release those fingerlings so that there is fish there for the future. And as I said, there's fish there for your kids to catch, and it's a win-win.
Yes, no, it's certainly good to see the responsible fishing becoming a bigger and bigger part of fishing as a whole in the state. We're right behind that one, Tim.
Yeah, look, it's one of the great pastimes of modern day.
Yes.
It's also one of the great pastimes, in the old day. But what I would say is that nothing gives me more pleasure as the Minister for Fisheries to see the industries, commercial and recreation, looking for a prosperous future, and also having good sustainable stocks is really important. And so that's why we're putting a focus on using the science to assess, making sure that we restock, and making sure that when it's fit to, we open up areas that have been closed. Because I might add that normally when governments close areas, they never reopen them.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I've come in to I guess gain some confidence within the sector that I'll act in the best interests of sustainable fish, but I'll also act in the best interests of the fisher, looking for a feed of fish and looking for a waterway, whether it's in the ocean or whether it's in the river or reservoir, that they know there's sustainable fish stocks there for the next time they go to catch fish.
Yes, beautiful. All right, Tim, thanks a lot for joining us. It's been really good to get your opinion and have a chat about some of these things. And it sounds like you're right behind the recreational fishing sector, which is great.
Yep, I want South Australia to be the seafood state, and I want every fisher to have a good experience. Whether you're young or old, it's got to be a good experience.
Really appreciate it, Tim. That's some fantastic news for the state, and we really appreciate all your hard work. Thanks again for coming on the show, Tim.
Thanks, guys. Great to be with you.
See you, Tim.
Bye. Tim Whetstone, that was fantastic to have him on the show. What a great news story that is for the state, Rhodey.
Yeah, certainly really good to hear ourselves and show the listeners, tell the listeners what it's all about and hear it directly from the top.
It was really good, and thank you again very much, Tim Whetstone, for being part of the show. All right, Rhodey, let's get into the fishing report, mate. There's a bit going on here. Where are they getting the crayfish? Joey Virgin's been sending in a few photos. Are they still going hard?
Well, certainly according to the pictures that Joey sent us, they're doing well down at Marion Bay. He looked very, very happy with himself. So
we've still got a while to go for the season, haven't we?
Yeah, mate. End of May, so not much left in it.
Ooh, get out there quick. All right, let's move on to the whiting. The winter King George whiting. They are firing, mate. Popular locations, including Metro, but we're going to touch on that a bit later on because we did do well over the weekend.
Yep.
Where are the flathead going, Rhodey? What's happening there, mate?
All right, mate. So they're certainly over sort of on the York Peninsula around Black Point, Port Julia, where we were fishing. I can tell you where they're not. They're not down at Carricalinga and Normanville because I had a flick of a little lure there the other day and donuts, mate.
No good. And the squid. We had some great weather over the weekend and we have had some fantastic water clarity, and I'm talking specifically on the York Peninsula around the Ardrossan area. We saw the commercial guys out there. They were getting amongst it, so I reckon they were going pretty hard.
Certainly were, mate. They were there all weekend, so they must have been getting a few.
Yeah, I reckon they would have got more than us, mate. The tuna. There's still some reports trickling through, isn't there?
Yeah, mate. There's been plenty of footage floating around on Facebook of big active schools off Marion Bay and Victor Harbour. I think they're a bit hit and miss. Not everyone's getting them, but those that find the schools are doing very well. Seems very late in the year for the tuna to still be hanging around, mate.
It does seem late, and it's really good to see that, and it's good that people are still able to get out there and get amongst it. Now that we're allowed to visit the regions, even more of a reason to tow your boat down there if you're interested. Get out and get amongst it, wait for the weather window and go for it.
And still barrels down in the southeast?
Yes, we're still seeing a few trickle through, and that's definitely on the hit list. If you want any tips, you got to jump on and listen to Flacky's episode. He had some good stuff.
Yeah, so I suppose we're in that crossover period where the school fish are still around.
Yes.
The barrels are turning on in the southeast, and we'll expect over the next few weeks or months for the school fish to get harder and harder to find and the barrels to increase if you're heading down that way.
And definitely a good time to get out on a charter, isn't it?
If you're
not doing well on the barrels, they'll hunt the school fish.
Yep.
They'll give you a good day on the school fish if you don't get the barrels. So now that we can travel to the regions, we got to get out there and support the charters because they've been doing it tough, mate.
Yep. So Port Mac and the likes, places like that are your best bet to go and get yourself a big 100-kilo tuna, James Flack style.
Absolutely. All right, now let's get on to the winter whiting. Rishi on KI, he has been sending us in a few photos, mate. He's been doing well, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think him and Alex Ross, got out a couple of days last week, and their bucket looked pretty good to me, mate.
What are they? Just ISO over there, or what's the?
Yeah, they were doing a little bit of isolating over there for a week or so, and they got plenty of fishing in by the sound. So good on them.
Any danger of an invite, you reckon, or?
Oh, I was flat, mate. I was flat.
Stitch up.
Anyway,
absolute stitcher.
Good to see them catching some fish, and good they shared a few pics with us.
Definitely.
Plenty of other photos floating around of whiting across the state. So it sounds like Port Vic has been getting a few.
Yeah, Port Vic. Plenty of photos after that weekend. It was just beautiful, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Weather was great.
In local, Rocco got on the whiting both Saturday and Sunday over the recent weekend, and he said he was only 1 kilometre off the beach. So
there you go.
Just off Glenelg somewhere.
They do come in close at winter, don't they?
So get amongst them, guys. Now,
Diz, all right, let's talk about the weekend. Your thoughts in general, Rody. Just give me a one-liner.
Perfect.
Oh, one worder.
Oh, I thought you said sorry. I got myself confused.
No, we went out on Saturday. The weather was nice. It was getting better throughout the day. We missed the morning tide, really, didn't we? But there wasn't much run in the tide because we were leading into the Dodge. And that's what we were umming and ahhing about, weren't we? We were sort of, should we go, shouldn't we go, Dodge tide. We pulled the trigger and we went. And Saturday was looking good. We got a couple.
Yeah, a couple of, what did we get, 3 or 4 whiting on the Saturday?
Yeah.
Couple of squid.
Yeah.
Sun was sort of getting pretty low in the sky.
Yeah, we had one spot where we were plagued by little Port Jackson sharks, weren't we?
Yeah, that was weird. Don't normally get them whiting fishing.
No, we were just plagued with them. We probably got 3 or 4
Yep.
little sort of 2-3 footers.
Did a bit of pulling on the whiting sticks though.
We did. That was good fun. And then anyway, the sort of I think it was probably getting 4:30. Sun going down, just absolute glass off, wasn't it?
So we caught up with Ella and Jack and were sort of drifting, having a bit of a chat with them. They'd outfished us up until that point, so we're a little bit disappointed. They had a fair few whiting in the boat.
Yeah, we were.
So what did we do, mate? We dropped a line in as we were drifting, having a little chat. What happened next?
Well, we thought we had another little PJ on the line.
It pulled line, didn't it?
It did. It was pulling a bit of string. We got there, pulling out. Jeez, what's this? Boom. Flatty in the hole. We found a little flatty hole, stumbled across it. Absolutely brilliant. Went 48, 45, 48, something like that.
I think somewhere around there, mid-40s, mid to high 40s.
Yeah, photos up on the Facebook. Get around it. It was fantastic. It was really good to get onto a little patch of them because we went bang, bang, got 2 in the boat.
Yeah,
half an hour later, boom, got a 3rd. Wasn't like it wasn't a record-breaking session on the flathead, but we don't usually have them, do we, mate?
No, I reckon we've caught 1 or 2 sort of in those waters over the years. And certainly we've never gone bang, bang, bang like that.
No, definitely not. But then Sunday's where the action happened, wasn't it?
How good was the day? The weather was pristine, and it only got better as the day went on.
It did. I'm not sure it was quite forecast for that. We got out and it started blowing just a little bit. Maybe
it did pick up. We had our jackets on at that point.
Yeah, it was a bit cold in the morning. Got around there. We've got to just, fish the general area, sort of Julie away. We've talked about that enough. People know roughly where we fish, and we've got a few marks there. Went around, picked off a couple here, there,
and then it heated up, didn't it? So just probably what we would have got out there about 7:30. Yeah. I reckon by 9 o'clock we had 18 fish in the bag when you decided to pull the head count.
Mate, the listeners won't believe that when I've already dropped it as my lemon, that you were pulling the count.
Anyway.
We were throwing them in the esky, and there was how many?
18. Should have, I don't know what we should have done, mate, but they were going hot up until we counted those fish.
Jinxed us. Absolutely jinxed us.
So what happened next?
And boy, oh boy, did we toil away for the last 2.
I reckon we were pushing 3 hours to get those last 2 fish.
We've been back at the ramp at 9 o'clock with 18, gone home, day done.
We were talking about being back in Adelaide by lunchtime.
We toiled away. We got there in the end. We couldn't leave.
You can't leave on 18.
No, we couldn't.
No.
And we couldn't actually believe it because that was the Dodge, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that was the query over the trip, and we disproved that theory, didn't we?
We did, yeah. I'm not sure. Certainly a different style of fishing, I think, is required on the Dodge.
Certainly as the day went on and the movement went completely out of the tide, where there was absolutely no movement, they were sucking on the baits, weren't they?
They were sucking on the baits. They started pulling the squid off, and it changed the game a bit, didn't it?
And it makes sense. If there's no movement in the tide, there's no movement down there. There's nothing stopping the whiting from sitting right next to your hook and carefully taking off the cockle.
Yeah, they're good like that.
When the tide's flowing, they've got to hit it with a bit of pace because that movement will blow them away.
Yeah, anyone would think you'd have a PhD in whiting fishing with that sort of chin wag.
I've thought long and hard about this, but anyway, we disproved the theory. We had to be patient. When you felt a little bit of weight on the bite, you had to strike, mate.
Yes, you did, and we did well. That's how we got the last few, because we moved around, we plucked off one. I think you might have foul hooked one because you're good like that.
It was a real story of perseverance, those last 2 fish.
It was.
We tried 10, 12 spots, I reckon, and we just kept jumping around.
Yeah, we did. But no, all in all, it was a fantastic couple of days on the water, really. The weather was great.
Yeah.
Lovely spot. Brilliant weather for this time of year, wasn't it?
Beautiful.
Absolutely fantastic.
Have you eaten any of your fish yet, mate?
No.
Well, we had them last night. They were bloody good chewing.
Oh yeah, good chewing. We knew that. We knew they were gonna be though. They always are.
There is nothing beats a good serve of whiting. Bit of salt and pepper on the barbie.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah, you want to keep it simple, I reckon. Enjoy the taste. It's bloody fantastic. And that was pretty much our weekend in review. So we hope to have a few more like that.
Yeah, we've certainly got the calendars out and tried to clear as much other gear as we can, free it up for the winter whiting.
Yeah, they were. And they weren't thumpers though, were they?
Probably all between 32 and 36.
Yeah, we had to throw a few back.
I reckon we threw back as many as we kept, mate. I reckon we would have thrown back close to 20.
Yeah, we did.
Heaps of red mullet. What else does that tell us?
That's where they live, mate.
If you catch red mullet, you'll get whiting. You listen to David Gillespie and he will tell you red mullet equals whiting, guys.
Absolutely. No, there was a few. It was good to get out there and get amongst it. And we hope you guys are too, because now's the time.
What do they say, mate? You got to make hay while the sun shines.
Absolutely. Bit of Bill Sando about it.
All right, mate. That's getting towards the end of today's episode, guys. Certainly, we have had some great interaction on the socials, so jump on the Facebook or the Instagram, search All the Gear But No Idea, give us a like, get around us. If you do get out and get some winter whiting, some tuna down off Marion Bay, whatever sort of fishing you're doing, keep us in the loop and send us through a picture, mate.
Yeah, send it through. We love that stuff, don't we?
Some interaction is what we're all about.
It's good gear.
The other thing, any questions? If any listeners have some questions, send us a message.
Post them in. Yeah.
You'll hear some good theories, whether or not they're right or not. We'll try and give you an answer.
Absolutely. I mean, we're going to try and give as much notice as we can for the guests coming on. If you've got an interest in that particular style of fishing or that particular area of interest for any recreational fishing, you just got to jump on there, whack your question up, and we'll do the hard work for you. Aren't we ready?
Certainly will, mate.
Fantastic. Well, that just about wraps it up for us, doesn't it? But there is one last segment, which we have ummed and ahed about this segment, and I am still campaigning strongly to get rid of it, but you seem to be holding strong, mate, so give us the joke.
All right, now young Dizzy gets on the phone one morning, gives his boss a call on the phone. Boss, I can't come into work today. Dizzy's boss asks why. Dizzy, it's my eyes. What's wrong with your eyes, says the boss. I just can't see myself coming to work today. I'm going fishing instead. Thoughts?
That's horrible. Horrible gear. But no, I think we'll have something better next week. There's always something better in the pipe.
Did you listen to my 5 questions? The anticipation of something better is what brings us back next week.
Yeah, well, you can't get much worse than that. No, that was good. Well, thank you very much for listening, guys. Really appreciate it. It was great to hear from Tim, wasn't it?
Yeah, thanks again, Tim Whetstone, for coming on and giving us all the news. Certainly was an action-packed episode today.
We should give Fraser a bit of a shout-out there, shouldn't he?
Yeah, Fraser Ellis, our mate, he did some of the work behind the scenes to get Tim Whetstone on.
Well done, Fraser. All right, guys, thanks for listening. Jump on Facebook, give us a like.
See you guys.
See ya.
Rhodey and Diz hope you enjoyed today's episode of All the Gear But No Idea. Keep up to date by liking and sharing us on Facebook and Instagram, and you can subscribe on all the major podcast platforms. Until next time, good luck fishing.